2 additional Buffalo Sabre games will be postponed, as well as 3 more New Jersey Devils games and 2 more Minnesota Wild games. There's been so many postponements of so many games because so many teams, like we said last episode, have been put on the COVID protocol list because they keep on testing positive.
They're postponing all these games. Like some divisions might have to play less games than other divisions. When we hit game number 14, I think, is when we're a quarter of the way through the season. But I think once we hit like halfway, if they have to postpone anymore, it's going to get really awkward.
I think I was reading that they don't know when the season is really supposed to end, because if they're going to add games or do whatever, then it could end in like July, which is a really weird time.
I think the latest date that they can finish the season is sometime in July, or I think it was July. There's like a date in July where it's like that's where we need to like award the Stanley Cup. We can't go further than that.
We're going to have a 6-month or an 8-month 54 game season.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the league, they introduced 4 new changes to their in-arena protocols, so hopefully that kind of helps a bit.
I mean, we'll have to see. Yeah.
What was one of them, Marjorie? What did you write down? Was it portable air?
Yes, so portable air filters, removal of glass behind the benches, additional locker space.
Oh, yeah. And then this was the funniest one of all. So technically there are 4, but one was taken away after players complained way too much. So you're only allowed to be max before a game at a rink an hour and 45 minutes. But then all the players and everyone was complaining, well, like, how can you do this? Like, we need time to prep, like, what if we're already there? Like, blah, 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 blah. So they kind of took that away. So technically there's only 3 new protocols.
This is the thing, though. I think out of all of them, that protocol makes the most sense.
Just them taking out one of the most significant protocols due to player backlash, I think also speaks volumes on where they're at and how they basically can't really set any strict things without being like, oh, no, I don't want to hurt their feelings, whatever.
Also, for me, it's like an hour and 45 minutes is a long time.
It probably seems like a lot of time to us, but for the players it's like nothing compared
No,
to,
and
like,
I know that because they have their pregame rituals and they have to have a meeting and get ready and this and that. But it's also like in a pandemic, switch it up a little bit. Like realize that the world issues are bigger than your pregame ritual this week. I'm sorry.
Like, let's make some sacrifices and, at least you get to play hockey. And I know that might sound a little harsh, but, given the circumstances of what other people are in right now, I think you can sacrifice a little bit of your time and, be a little safer, especially if you keep on seeing all of your other fellow NHLers continuously test positive for this very deadly virus.
I'd be a little worried.
The Wraparound with Grace, Alessia, and Marjorie.
So last week's episode, Grace gave us, lots of amazing information and insight into the NWHL. She gave us a lot of great picks, games to watch, what you can watch on every team, just great insight. And sadly, the NWHL season is currently suspended.
I was heartbroken for 2 reasons. One, because my preview lost all relevance in like 24 hours. And then the second was because they had to postpone the season.
And you know what? You could still use that preview when they hopefully come back, because it's not like anything has changed or any teams have, are going to change or anything. But this all started when the Metropolitan Riveters and the Connecticut Whales both pulled out of the tournament, only leaving 4 teams left. And so, like I said, there's still hope for the season to resume since it's only suspended and not canceled. But that is as of right now. My goodness, I have trouble saying words today. Also really unfortunate because this season the league saw significant audience growth in their viewing. It's sad all around, and I was going to pose this question to you guys actually. So I was writing, considering the lack of communication and funding available to the league, which ultimately contributed to the poor management of the bubble, should the league reach out to other organizations and campaign to supply a better environment for when the playoffs eventually resume?
I mean, obviously that is an option. I think the league is trying their best to grow the game, and I think it's going to come down to trying to get as many sponsorships and big corporations to sponsor them and give them money so they can operate safely. I think with the budget that they probably had this year, they did their best. and it was kind of sad to see the NWHL season get suspended. But like you mentioned, Marjorie, the growth of the game and the coverage that they got just goes to show that people truly care about women's hockey and they want to watch.
My opinion is that you can't blame the league, because look at the NHL. Like, money or not, the NHL has millions of dollars and they still have teams being shut down and games being postponed, like right, left, and center every day.
I was reading somewhere, I do not think it was on ESPN, it might have
Darn.
been TSN.
We were waiting for that.
I was reading that they weren't really properly monitoring who was coming in and out, and how players were quarantining, what they were supposed to do if they needed to, or if a team needed a new player, how was that going to affect the team. So those are some of the factors that you could say contributed to what happened. But like you guys perfectly said, you can't blame the league, and they did what they could with what they were given. But it also just shows how important it is to support women's sports and be able to give them the same opportunity as other sports that are obviously dominated by males, and so that they can properly play the game and not have to go through this. They were already playing a really short 2-week tournament, and not for them to not even be able to finish that just goes to show the lack of support and coverage that they've received in past years, because if they had gotten more support or encouragement, then they wouldn't be where they were.
Again, it all comes down to money. Like, the NHL just bought, I think, or was it just the Leafs, but they just bought a bunch of rapid tests so that everybody who comes into the arena can get a rapid test when they come in. Like, the NWHL doesn't have the money to do that.
Yeah, and I think you also texted us that all the teams were staying at the same hotel.
Yeah, 2 of the teams. I think it was the Riveters.
Potentially the Connecticut Whales.
I think so. I think that's who it was, yeah.
But I was also reading that, I can't remember who said this, but it was someone on the Toronto Six. I can't remember if it was the coach or, head of management, that they were saying that, I might be taking this out of context, but the girls, the women on the team were essentially willing, to die to continue playing in the playoffs because, they really wanted to play. And, if that doesn't tell you how passionate these women are about playing pro sports and about, staying in an environment that's potentially dangerous to them, that would concern their health, that just goes to show that they deserve something like this. They deserve to be able to play, sports and have a living wage and have sponsors and be able to be broadcasted on national broadcasting channels. So it's really unfortunate. Hopefully they can start up again soon, and Grace can give us some more of her takes on the NWHL. We're gonna now talk about, like I said, not so positive vibes right now, Leafs injuries. One in particular that just happened, that was just announced today actually, is Wayne Simmonds, his broken wrist, and he'll be out for 6 weeks. And he sustained that injury last night? No, Saturday.
What day did they play? Yeah, Saturday. Not Super Bowl Sunday. It was Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. So against the Canucks. To think that Wayne Simmonds played such a good game.
Everybody's acting like Wayne Simmonds' injury is the end of the world for the team. Now, it sucks.
Yeah.
It is so sad. It's not the end of the world. Like, they aren't going to drop to the bottom of the standings, knock on wood, without him, Thornton, or Robertson, because these are all players that they've acquired during the offseason or are new to the team. So we might have to deal with some flashback to 2020 Leafs bubble hockey, but like, they still did fine. I guess what I'm saying is that everybody really overreacted because they were like, Wayne Simmonds, the team is doomed. Yeah, he's out for 6 weeks, which sucks. Like, it sucks so bad because he was doing so well, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's why I was upset, because he was finally, I think, starting to find his place, like, within the team. And, he was playing really well against the Canucks. It's sad. And, I definitely was like, come on, this is the worst. Something always happens to the Leafs, whatever. But, we do have players that can come in and fill the spot. And, the team has just been playing so well as a collective. And, line per line, that I think this should be okay.
Speaking of other players that are supposed to come in, Rasmus Sandin is supposed to make his season debut tonight.
That'll be a good addition, especially because I'm pretty sure Rasmus has been wanting to finally crack the lineup, and I think he's been itching to play for the main team. So let's see if he can show some of his skills and put some of our Leafs minds to rest. that's enough Leafs for now, so Alessia's brain won't explode on us.
Oh, but now we're going to talk about one of her other favorite teams, obviously.
Obviously, the Ottawa Senators. Come on. Come on, it's everybody's favorite team. And so Alessia actually brought this to my attention, so I'm actually going to let her take the reins on this.
So, Derek Stepan from the Ottawa Senators. This was kind of big news. I mean, not overly huge news, but I wanted to mention it to the girls. He switched his number from 15 to 21. Number 21 was being worn by Logan Brown, so he is now changed to number 27. In the same week, there were rumors, if this probably even is an actual thing, not even a rumor, that he has also requested a trade. He was acquired by the Senators in December from the Arizona Coyotes for a second-round pick. So this is like a couple of months after he joined the team and he already wants out. He's already changed his number. I mean, he's previously worn number 21 with both the Coyotes and the Rangers, but like, what is going on?
I hate to burst the dramatic bubble. I love this narrative that we're creating here. But I did my research this morning. Surprisingly, I actually did work for this. He had a really hard time adjusting to being in Ottawa because his family's still in the States. His hometown is Minnesota.
Yes.
And he's been in Arizona for a while, and he was with New York before then. So he changed to number 21. But first, can you imagine being Logan Brown and having Derek Stepan just like light up your phone? He hasn't played this season. He only played 23 games last season, and he had a goal and 8 points.
But also, like, Brown was drafted by the Senators, wasn't he?
Yeah, 11th overall.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so for Stepan to come, just recently in December on the team and be like, hey, Logan, I know, this is your original team. You're drafted here. Can I please have your number, even though I want a trade?
But he also probably knows he's going to be gone in a month or so.
Technically, like, he is a veteran, so you got to give him that. But at the same time, I kind of feel for Logan Brown because it's like, hey, by the way, I want your number. And as a young player, it's kind of like, you're not going to say no to a guy who's played so many years in the NHL. Of
course.
But like you said, Grace, there's other factors that come into this decision that, him requesting a trade, especially now with COVID and like family related factors, it makes sense. The number thing, I don't know, but the more of like the trade makes sense. It's not the end of the world if you don't play with the same number you had.
They're hockey players. They have
could be a
different
superstition.
priorities.
It's all like superstitious stuff. Like, we know
exactly.
Hockey players are like that.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the point in our show where you guys actually do have the opportunity to speak freely over one another, because it's our open discussion time. We're going to start off with our first topic, which I will post to you two, and I guess I'll have my thoughts on it as well. The NHL is considering postponing this year's draft, so 2021, to next year, 2022. Ladies, start talking.
Please do this. I say this for the sake of every junior, college, any hockey player on the entire planet who's looking to get drafted to the NHL. The past year and a half has not been fair to them at all. Like, how are they being scouted? Because not all players have equal opportunities. Like, some have private trainers they can go work out with, some don't. It'll be a mess to sort out afterwards, trying to put 2 drafts into one, because I'm assuming they'd keep it that way. No team is in need of like a lot of draft picks, except for maybe Detroit. But like, no team needs them.
Yeah, like you said, mainly the main reason that they came up with this idea is because a lot of 2021 eligible players are not even able to play hockey right now. So like Grace said, it's really not fair to them. And the NHL has never hosted back-to-back drafts, so I guess that will go down in history. But yeah, Grace said it perfectly. It's fair it's only fair to the players.
And plus, not only is it, fair to the players in the sense that, they'll get scouted fairly based on, actual performance, but, kind of seeing the draft, virtually this past, like last year, obviously it wasn't the same, but I also felt for the players on a different sense where, they weren't getting the same experience as other past draftees in the sense that they're in this big stadium. They get to hear their name called out. They walk down the stairs and they get to put on their jersey in front of, thousands of people. And, I think every person who puts in so much work sweat into something that they really enjoy and then they work their whole life for, I think they deserve to kind of have their moment of glory and hear their name get called up on the big screen. So hopefully next year's draft, and if they do postpone this year's draft to next year, they'll be able to have the opportunity where they can be back in the stadium and, everybody can be together again and really celebrate these young players and their amazing accomplishments. Speaking about accomplishments, we're going to talk about the PWHPA and their new partnership with the New York Rangers and Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I read about the whole partnership, and under the new partnership, the PWHPA will be receiving enhanced marketing coordination and support, sponsorship consulting on commercial efforts, and a future secret Dream Gap tour to showcase players. So that's basically what they are receiving from this partnership, which is pretty huge and crucial in growing the game of women's hockey.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that these two teams, stepped up and, offered their services, and we're the first two teams to have a partnership with the PWHPA. So it'll be fun to see, how they work together and how they mesh two worlds of men's hockey and women's hockey to kind of meet in the middle and, not advertise, specifically women's sport, but just, fair play and, fair opportunities and, really get the word out there that these female players deserve to be on a team and deserve to get paid for what they do. They reached out to two very big markets in particular, and it was very strategic. It's not just by chance that they happened to choose the New York Rangers or the Toronto Maple Leafs. Those are two massive markets, and it's two markets that they can really, really open the game, the women's game, to lots of people. And let's talk about the 2022 Winter Olympics, which is very, very close.
I got really excited to talk about this because I love the Olympics.
Me too.
Yes.
Like, the NHL is great. I love the NHL. But junior hockey and Olympic hockey are
please.
like injected into my veins.
Especially World Junior Hockey.
Yeah. Also that.
And also, like, whenever the Olympics are on, like, I watch so many sports that I don't normally watch. Like, I'll watch speed skating. I'm like, yes, Canada win.
Right?
Or, like, any sport that's, like, on the ice or, like, on the snow, which is pretty much every Winter Olympic game. But I'm like, I just want Canada to win. And so I get very competitive about every sport. But we're going to talk about hockey. Yes? What are you going to say?
Did you want like our projected rosters? Is that what you wanted from us for this?
I saw something about that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I was going to say, who's on your Canadian Olympic team roster?
Okay.
Okay. So, Grace, you want to start?
I don't have to. I was going to say if Alessia wants to start, she can go ahead.
Well, I don't have the entire roster. Like, I was going to take the time to do that, but I do have a couple of players for each position that I think would make it or be crucial for Canada. So for goalies, Price and Hart. I mean, it's like having two Carey Prices in
That's
that.
who I had.
Okay, we're on the same page. I mean, we've mentioned this countless times how Carter Hart resembles Carey Price. I don't think I have to say that again because we've said that so many times.
Two of the three goalies that we really, really love on this show. The third being Marc-Andre Fleury, just because of Grace.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He deserves the recognition.
On defense, I would say Cale Makar and Alex Pietrangelo. Forwards, McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby.
Yes, I agree.
So I have mine set up a little differently. Because I feel like
enlighten us.
The NHL right now is so full of Canadian talent. It's kind of insane.
I see.
So I don't think they'll have to carry on many, as the Olympics call them, amateurs on the team.
Yes.
Because it could just be all NHL players and it would be a killer hockey team. So we have the obvious, like Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Steven Stamkos, Carey Price, and Nathan McKinnon. Those all feel like obvious players who will make the roster for me. And then the lesser obvious would be like John Tavares, Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley, Leaf trifecta right there.
I love how it's all Leafs.
And then Carter Hart and Cale Makar. Because you could argue that Jordan Binnington is going to play more than Carter Hart.
Yeah. I think I can't remember whose projected lineup I saw, but they had Binnington as the third goalie.
See, I would have Price and then Binnington, and then Carter Hart. That feels right to me because Carter Hart's so young to be on an Olympic stage, I feel. I don't know. But it
It's
could
hard to
flip-flop
tell.
either way.
Yeah.
Carey Price would definitely be
Yeah.
top, and then Binnington, Hart, Binnington, whatever. But then an interesting point I'd like to bring up is the very less obvious Alexi Lafreniere.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because he could by the 2022 Olympics, he'll be in his second year.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still don't feel like he would be ready.
I feel like you said, I think because there's so much talent in terms of Canadian hockey that they're going to go with their most experienced players. Like as much as Lafreniere would probably be a great player in 2 years, that's kind of just what I'm thinking.
Right. And then the rest of the team would be filled out by Mark Scheifele, Braden Point, Barzal. You could fill out the team with that. But I did see an article projecting Alexi Lafreniere, and I just wanted to see your thoughts on that because I thought it was interesting because a second year on an Olympic team.
Yeah. I think it's a bold choice if Hockey Canada went that route because like Alessia said, there are so many experienced Canadians in the league that have played Olympic games in their careers. So I feel like I don't think they would risk it, especially because Alexi Lafreniere has so many years ahead of him where he can play on an Olympic team. Why don't you give the opportunity to other guys who maybe haven't had the opportunity to play in the Olympics, who maybe were injured while they were overseas, playing for the Canadian team, so on and so on. So it's a bold choice. I understand why that choice or that selection might have been made, but I don't think he would be put on the team. I mean, I agree with all of your choices. I mean, I think we all know that those are kind of like the obvious picks that, how could you not have them on your team? It's so hard because there's so many great players to choose from, and not including some players, that's hard. It's easy to be like, I want this, I want this, I want this, but then when you have to choose between two players and be like, which one's actually better? It's hard because they're all so great. And how do you really define who's great and why they deserve to be on the team against this guy? So I don't know. Hockey Canada always has, a really big task ahead of them whenever they're preparing for the Olympics. And any other national team that's playing in the Olympics also has a hard task. Because they have to prepare themselves for Team Canada. And I'm not just saying that because, I was born in this beautiful country, but because, the team is really, really amazing all the time. And speaking about Team Canada, or speaking about Canadian teams and Canadian life, we're going to move on.
Third good segue of the day, Marty. I'm so proud.
I'm on a roll. We're going to move on to trivia. And this week's trivia theme is Canada edition. Who was the first Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup?
Dang.
Grace?
There are only two to choose from. Was it Montreal?
That is incorrect.
It was an 06 team.
Hold on. Have I made a mistake? Okay, you see, I put in first Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup. A couple of days ago when I looked, it said the Ottawa Senators, and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
That's not right.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, Grace, you are correct. It is the Montreal Canadiens.
It's Montreal.
Thank you. Google. You had me doubting my entire life.
Dumb Google. I asked Google, and Google did not give me the right answer.
I was like, is it going to be like the Vancouver Rabbits or whatever one of their old team name was?
No, I was looking at old NHL teams, and there were some funny ones.
Right? They sound so stupid at some point. So I'm like, how did you manage?
Okay, Grace won that one. My apologies. I have lost my credibility.
And then I get one right, and it's tarnished.
I've lost all my credibility. Okay, next question. Which Canadian team has won the most Stanley Cups?
Ding.
Alessia.
Montreal Canadiens.
There you go. Okay, next question. Which Canadian player scored the most goals in their rookie season? So I have options for you guys. 1, Joe Nieuwendyk. 2, Mike Bossy. 3, Luke Robitaille. 4, Dale Horachuk. And let me say the question again. It says, which Canadian player scored the most goals in their rookie season? So it's not the all-time rookie goal scorer, whatever. It's which Canadian player has scored the most goals in their rookie season. Would you guys like me to repeat the options?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. First, you have Joe Nieuwendyk. Second, you have Mike Bossy. Third, you have Luke Robitaille. And then fourth, you have Dale Horachuk.
Ding.
Alessia?
Dale Horachuk.
That is incorrect.
See, I know you gave me options, but Timu is just right in the front of my head.
Yeah.
Okay, I need the options again.
Oh my god, Grace.
I'm sorry. I also kind of want to hear you say them again because I think it's cute.
Joe Nieuwendyk.
Okay.
Mike Bossy.
Okay.
Luke Robitaille.
Okay.
Dale Horachuk.
And Alessia said Dale, and that was wrong.
Yes.
You know those
Yeah.
TikToks where they show you like 2 piles of cards, and they're like, "Which one is your intuition telling you to go with?" I'm going with Robitaille.
That is also incorrect.
I was. Oh my god. Okay. Can you please tell us the answer?
Alessia, why are you so exasperated with that one?
Because I was debating between Mike Bossy and Dale Horachuk so hard.
And it's Mike Bossy. Yeah. So Mike Bossy scored 53 in his rookie season, and if I'm not mistaken, his second overall. And like Grace said, Timu is first overall, but he had 76 in his, and I don't think anybody's beating that anytime soon. Okay, so it's 1-1. Okay, next question. Which current NHL team has the most Canadian players on their roster?
Like all of NHL or Canadian NHL?
No, all of NHL. It says which current NHL team has the most Canadian players.
I read
on their
one
roster.
about this. Ding?
Are you saying ding?
Yeah,
okay, there you go. Ding, yes.
St. Louis?
That is correct.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I just remember it was a big thing when they won the cup. It's like Canada hasn't won a cup since 1982, and here's all of these Canadian players who just won.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they have. Well, the last stat I read is that they had 18 players.
That's a lot.
That is quite a few. That's
You
quite
play
a few
a whole
players.
game with 18 players.
Yes. Okay, so Grace is currently leading. Alessia, you can tie the game, and then I'll have to look for another question because I would not have a tying question, but I could do that quickly. So last question. Which Canadian team has the longest winless streak in league history?
Winless streak.
Winless, the longest winless streak.
AKA losing streak.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ding.
Yes, Alessia?
I don't know if this is the Senators.
No, that is incorrect.
I don't know.
You would think it's the Senators.
Is it like all time? Like, are we talking like, could we say like the Nordiques? Like that time period too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said which team has the longest winless streak in league history.
Hey,
you guys not listening to my
questions?
questions?
Like a poorly written math quiz.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory if it says league history.
Okay. And why not? Let's go with the Quebec Nordiques just to spice things up a little bit. We've never said Nordiques on this podcast.
Why not?
No, you guys both are wrong. The team that has the longest winless streak is the Winnipeg Jets with 30.
Why did I read this earlier?
So you're both incorrect.
Why is that so sad?
I couldn't believe that you could lose 30 games in a row.
Wait, but is
That's
this before they became the Atlanta Thrashers or after?
No, after. I'm pretty sure it's under
Okay.
the Winnipeg Jets name. Longest winless streak. You're making me doubt all of my questions.
No, I'm just
now.
wondering out of like general curiosity.
Yeah. Because even some of the questions, like, can I say the Nordiques?
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up my NHL records. Yeah, so team records, longest winless streak season. So in the season, Winnipeg Jets 1980-1981 season. So they started losing on October 19th and then it ended on December 20th.
Merry Christmas.
So 2 months.
Wow.
2 months going winless. But this week we have crowned a new champion. Grace has finally
got her
won.
I'm so proud of myself.
I will send
I'm
you a
happy.
virtual sticker.
Yeah, you better.
I didn't get a
A
virtual
virtual-
sticker.
But
Okay,
you
no
won, like,
stickers.
4 times.
No
Okay,
stickers.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. This is special.
No stickers.
Let me
This is a
have this.
special one.
No
This is a
stickers
special
to
one.
avoid favoritism.
We need, like, once we're back in person, we need a belt. Like, you know how Bar Down has a belt?
Like
We need something.
That's so true.
I'll buy one at Dollarama.
A candle. Here's the
candle.
winning candle.
Here's the winning candle. You're welcome. Or the winning like fake mouse. There you go.
We got it. The winning cat toy.
I was gonna say, speaking of winless and disappointing seasons, I am now gonna pose my weekly question to you guys and have Grace and Alessia's picks for this week. And this week's picks is on most disappointing player this season so far. So Grace, who's your pick? Who you got?
So I listened to you and I checked the outline yesterday and I've been thinking about this for over 24 hours. And at 3:57, 3 minutes before we started recording, I still didn't have one. Because honestly, this was a really difficult question. I don't have a player where I was looking forward to watching them and be really good and have them tank. The only player I could come up with, and let me pull up my stats from HockeyDB so that I can actually back this up, is Evgeny Malkin. And not that he was terrible, just that he was a little disappointing.
Can you guys stop choosing the same picks?
Well, you gave us a really hard question, and this was the one that made sense.
Okay, so you explain your little thing and I'll let Alessia explain.
Okay, let me justify. In this season so far, he's played 11 games and has 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. And he's -2. So I love the plus-minus stat. I don't know what it is. I'm in love with it. But he so every other season, he's been at least like a 2-point per game player in almost every other season. And now he's played 11 games and has 2 goals. So to me, that's what stands out as the most disappointing, with air quotes around that, because there's not much to choose from. Everybody's so good this year.
Alessia, your pick?
That was one of my picks because I had 2 players, possibly a third, because I like to come prepared because me and Grace have been choosing the exact same players. So she said
Smart move,
Malkin.
Alessia.
And it's kind of hard because a lot of the players that you would kind of point to are on teams that are losing. So it's not necessarily their fault, but at the same time, they're not doing great. So I chose Maryuri as one of the other players, goalies. His stats so far, goals against average is 4.10. His save percentage is 0.875.
Oh, no.
The Senators were expecting a lot of good things from him. He hasn't been horrendous in all of the games, but I think people were expecting a bit better of a performance from him.
I mean, we said this in that episode when Maryuri got traded, that it was going to be hard for him to play his best when the team is clearly still not where they're supposed to be at. And look at that, we're right. And so it sucks to see Maryuri in the position that he's in, because you can arguably say that, okay, maybe it is kind of his fault, but maybe a lot of it has to do with the team that he has in front of him. And the same with Evgeny Malkin. You have to kind of see at the situation, what's going on. But yeah, he's also a player who's been pretty consistent, so it's a little strange to see, him not putting up the numbers that he usually puts. But you also have to consider that's a different dynamic and a different time right now that we're living in. So, I mean, I thought it was an interesting pick to make you guys research and choose, because it's hard coming up with picks. I'm like I already asked them like favorite, like player to watch, team to watch, game to watch. I'm like, what do I have to choose now?
Next week is going to be like, who's your player's favorite dog?
Hey, I promise I'll come up with something really good, okay? But yeah, great picks overall as always, and I'll be looking forward to whatever you guys say. Not next week actually, but the week after. So if you guys don't know, and if maybe we haven't told you yet, but next week we'll be taking a little break, so there'll be sadly no episode for you guys. We're gonna take a time to kind of work a little bit on our individual endeavors and kind of meet back and regroup so we can produce the best show possible. We don't want to overwork ourselves either and give you really crappy content, because we would never want that. And so we're going to take a quick little break. I promise you it's only a week this time and not 3 months. We're going to just
stay in the playoffs.
Yeah, just a short little hiatus. And then I promise you the week following that, so the week of the 22nd, you will have a brand new episode from us to listen to and to interact with. And once you guys listen to this episode too, please interact with us on all our socials, on Twitter, on Instagram. Shoot us an email if you want to, whatever you want. Interact with us. Comment on our YouTube channel.
I love getting emails, so please email us.
Yes, we love interacting with new people. And so, yeah, so just talk to us about anything. Ask us questions about hockey if you want. And we'll try to give you the best opinion or best input possible. So thanks again for joining us on this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. As always, we have lots of fun producing this. So see you soon. Thanks for listening, and I hope you had fun.